Hello there and welcome to mCreate's Creative Studio, where we solve problems with great design. We're in the middle of a heatwave today and I've got a great brand that needs a bit of a refresh, so let's get cracking and I'll tell you what we're doing in the video. So today we are going to be doing a brand refresh of Dove. Now, this was chosen by my Instagram audience, so you have them to thank for this, but I also listed it as a choice because it's a logo that, to be honest, I think definitely needs a bit of a rebrand to bring it up into the 21st century. When I look at this logo, I get vibes of the late 80s, early 90s. I think of those navy blue hairbrushes with the red rubber that my nan and my mum used to have, and to be honest, I think it's a brand that needs to appeal to the younger generations, and their brand message really is kind of promoting inclusivity, so I think it'd be really good to have a logo that reflects that. So come along with me today, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the brand and the process behind redesigning their logo. So let's get started. So today we are rebranding Dove. Now, I've gone onto their website, had a little look at their kind of values and what they stand for, and so here I've kind of made a quick note of them. We've got authentic, unique, real, promoting confidence, not anxiety, and caring about the future generation. So if anything, perfect reason to start rebranding their logo to make it appeal a little bit more to the future generation. So behind the scenes, I did a little bit of mood boarding and coming up with colour scheme. Now, you'll probably notice about this mood board, there is no direct kind of reference to any specific fonts, any other brands, any specific kind of product design bottles. Now, this is just something that I prefer to do with my mood boards, because I think sometimes putting specific fonts or specific brands or some specific design inspiration in there taints the idea really of kind of genuine creativity and inspiration, because if you've got a font that is in a mood board, chances are you're probably going to choose something very similar to it. So something that I was taught is to never really put specific design elements into a mood board. Think about it more specifically as the mood. So what is the mood of Dove? It's body wash, it's confidence, it's body image, and it's kind of the products itself. So this is the mood board I came up with, and a basic colour scheme here. So we've gone with something that's quite neutral, with a bit of a pastel tone, and we've also got kind of an accent colour there as well. So based on this, and now if we think about brand archetypes as well, Dove very much exudes the kind of archetype of the innocent. So we're going to be going for something that's loyal, caring, trusting, quite good and like faithful in that kind of aspect. So what I've done is, again, I've kind of skipped ahead a little bit here and looked for some fonts. So I've downloaded some and let's just go through them now and begin. So Dove. Futura is my favourite font of choice. It's so versatile, I love it. Futura all day, every day. So out of the fonts that I've had a look at, we've got Ice Cream, which is quite cool and bold. We've got Omnes, I think that's probably how you say it. Let's just put medium for now. The other one I chose out from Adobe Fonts was Fenwick. The other one was Soleil. Let's just go with SB for now. So I've chosen these four after scrolling through Adobe Fonts and dafont.com and a variety of font sites for a while. Chose them all for slightly different reasons, but essentially they all, when I look at them, kind of exude a more modern twist on the current Dove that we have. Remember, this is a brand refresh, not a complete rebrand, so we still want to maintain some element of recognisability, and I quite like how modern and simplistic they are, and they kind of look quite innocent. There's nothing too harsh, there's no ridiculously harsh lines anywhere, other than the V, but we will get on to that. So I think first things first, if I now compare these to my mood board, I'm leaning towards getting rid of Ice Cream. As much as I love it, it probably is more suited to an ice cream brand, so I'm going to remove that one. These are all kind of similar, there's some nuances between them, so let's just have a look at some of the different styles that these come in. So you'll notice the current Dove logo is in kind of italicized. I quite like that. That's probably something that will keep going forward. So let's see how these would look all italicized. So medium italic. Okay, I quite like what is going on with the V here. Let's go for italic here. Okay, so slight change for the camera setup because my camera died. Perfect, just what we wanted. So now we're italicizing Fenwick or Fenwick. And, oh, that's not the one we want. I quite like that. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is this curved E here. And then let's italicize Soleil. Oh, I quite like Soleil. Okay, I don't like the E on this one, so let's remove that. And now let's stick with italics. So we're now down to 2 fonts. And to be honest, I mean, I quite like the flourish of the V we've got here. Now, that's not to say that you should be entirely restricted and just use the fonts that you're kind of given or that you use. There's always the option to be tweaking some of it specifically when you go to create outlines, for example. But to be honest, I quite like the font that we have here. So sorry, Soleil, you're gone. Let's work with Omnes. Oms? If that's how we say it. So I'm going to keep a kind of text version here. Let's create the outlines and let's see what we are working with. So I quite like this flourish that we have here on the V. There's something similar of that detail here on the E as well. The D I'm not entirely sold on, so let's do some tweaking on that one here. It would be quite cool to have this element of the V kind of move onto that. Okay, so let's ungroup this. Let's duplicate this, put it in a completely different colour so we can kind of see what it is we're working with. Let's reduce the opacity so we can see the lines. So if I were to do this, let's move it around to kind of match the angle that this is on. And let's go to my trusty shape builder and do that. Now let's delete these and let's just fill that in there. And you know what? I hate it. Let's just undo everything. So you know what, for now I think let's stick with the Dove that we have. Yeah, let's stick with that. Okay, so we've kept the italicization of the previous logo, but we've chosen a bit of a more modern option. Now, something that I would also quite like to bring across is the kind of classic Dove icon. It's in the soap bars. It would be great as a sunmark as well. So I'd really like to continue using this. So what I'm going to do is make a copy of it. Again, we don't want to change too much. This isn't a complete rebrand. This is a brand refresh to align to a younger audience. So I quite like the shape of it. Again, I hate the gradient, so let's do a quick trace of this actually with our curvature tool. Let's take off the fill so I can actually see what I'm doing. And we're just going to create a super quick outline here of our Dove. Let's make that pointy. Okay, cool. Now, very rough, as you can see. Very rough outline of our Dove, so we can tidy this up with the curvature tool a little bit. Let's make some of the edges pointed. let's remove some of the nodes, because as much as I love the curvature tool, you don't always need as many points as you think. Let's move that in a little bit. Okay, yeah, all right, I'm fairly happy with that now. So we have the bare elements of our logo that we're going to be using. So let's start to look at how we can bring these together and make some kind of cool combinations. So, I mean, the first one for me that's springing to mind, and probably for a lot of designers, is either making the dove kind of part of the O or the E or the D here. So let's have a look at what that would look like. So what I've done is just duplicated my dove, made it in a lovely fill colour that is going to really stand out from the font so that we can do some work with it. And yeah, let's see where we want to put this. So I've got a couple of options. I mean, my go-to is probably the O, like this, because there's kind of quite a lot of space to work with. Not sure how it'd work in the D, that looks a little bit odd. The E would have to be quite small, I think, unless the E is like taken out completely. Let's just duplicate this. Let's ungroup this, and let's, if we fill in the middle of the E, bring this in like that, and remove the middle. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that that works, to be honest. Let's delete that. So the E is a no, the D I'm not keen on, so let's just go with the O. I mean, that's probably one of the easier letters to do anyway, so let's do similar to what we did with the E, but I would quite like to, let's just merge it for now. In black would be nice. Yeah, that's quite cool. It doesn't really look like a dove in the classic sense, does it? So let's work on that by doing similar to what we did with the E. Let's fill in the O, and you know what? Let's probably actually put the dove back in the position that it's meant to be in. And let's cancel out the middle. Okay, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but of the two, I'm probably preferring the bottom one. Bit more legible. Again, not an option that we need to use all the time, but it's really good to kind of make a sub-mark out of. So, let's get rid of all this. I think this is a fairly good start. So let's ungroup, and if we delete all the other elements and bring this through, you'll see we've got, why has that done that? Okay, there we go. So I quite like that as a sub-mark as things go, to be honest. If we could move that around a little bit. Yeah, that's quite cute. I'm not entirely sure if the dove actually looks that modern, to be honest. I mean, if we go back to the original logo, maybe it's the kind of icon itself that makes it look quite kind of traditional and 80s, 90s kinds of vibe. So I mean, we could look at changing the dove entirely. And so this is exactly what I did. I got my sketchbook out and did a little sketch of a dove. I thought with 2 wings would be a good idea. So took a quick photo and imported it into Illustrator and just used my curvature tool to go through the outlines and tweak it from there. Then I just adjusted the outlines where needed to, filled it in and made it part of the O here as well. Okay, and so after all of that, we finally have a dove that probably looks a little bit more modern, a little bit sleeker. So we're going to use this one, I think. And I'm going to just make that one solid image. So now we have our main logo. We've also got the basis for kind of an icon or submark that we can work with. I think for now I'm probably going to keep the submark or icon just as the dove and the main logo as this is now. So now that we've done this, we can start to add some colour into it, which I am really looking forward to do. So let's move these away. Again, I like to keep elements around just because you never know if you need to go back to an old idea. So let's first of all add these swatches. Perfect. And my first go-to is to just try each, that's nice, each block colour on its own. Perfect. Now, I think for the main logo, we're probably better sticking up to a stronger colour. So I'm probably going to get rid of the pink and that cream colour. And we've now got, it's probably like a midway between like a black and a brown and the blue. To be honest, I mean, every logo needs to work in black and white, that's obvious, but I think we're probably going to go with the blue as the main logo for this one. So it's probably, if we start packaging this up, we now have Blue Dove here, Icon Dove here. The only issue is, I mean, this doesn't look too similar to the Twitter logo. I hope it doesn't. Actually, to avoid looking like the Twitter logo, let's have this submark as the O specifically. Perfect, so now that we have the main outline of the logo and a submark, this is what kind of you can build on to make some brand collateral. So we can build patterns from here, we can do some packaging and whatnot as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this to some mock-ups and some photography, and then we can see the final result.